sure a lot of people feel that way.
Yeah.
All right. Good morning, everybody. We are going to be going over final exam information a little bit. Also, I've been posting it, but I made a separate announcement then for everything that is open till the 12th, because remember the 12th, everything closes for the quarter, for the year. So I have a list of what is open. If you are trying to get your grade up, you're trying to scramble a little bit at the end, then what is open to you. Okay, all of them are summative, so really good opportunities to bring your grade up. And then we will go over the last two tasks on our project today, and then we'll give you some time to work. And myself and Missy will be here if you need assistance or have questions, okay? So we're gonna jump over into Canvas, all right? And I'll go into our class. So go to announcements. So there's two announcements that are just going to be really helpful. Okay. I went ahead and reposted the final exam information. So I did it down here. Okay. But I wanted to bring it back up to attention because it's easy to kind of lose sight of those announcements and stuff. So making sure, here's your review material. Okay. On Wednesday and Thursday, we are going to be reviewing in class for your final. Okay. So Wednesday, we'll do a PowerPoint and it's questions from the exam, from the test bank and stuff. So we'll go over those. We'll review about half the period, and then I'll give you the second half to just, again, work on any last minute work or review on your own. And then we'll do the same thing on Thursday. I have a Kahoots game, take about half the period. And then the rest of the period will be just be getting any last minute work done and submitted, or if you have any questions. Final exam schedules right here. So whatever you have period 1 and 2, you're going to do that on Friday. They are open 24 hours. So both finals have to be done by 11:59. Monday, you have period 3 and 4. So this class and then whatever you have fourth period. And again, it's open 24 hours. So 12 a.m. to 11:59. So both must be completed by 11:59. They're on extensions on that. Okay. And then your final day of finals is Tuesday, the 16th, the 5th and 6th, 12 a.m. to 11:59. And again, both have to be in. If you don't have a 5th or a 6th or something, if you have an open period, then just whatever class you have that day. Okay. Let's talk about attendance for a second. So the day that you take your final, taking the final, that will give you attendance for that day. But the issue that we have is, what do we do for attendance all next week? Teachers are required to take attendance till the last day of school, which is the 22nd, but you're not necessarily in class, right? You're taking your finals and then you're done. Okay. So what we're going to do, because me and Missy, we will be in the meet. So if you want to come by and say hi, or if you need anything, you can come and see us. Okay. But you'll be taking finals, you'll be doing this and that. So we understand. It's but I still have to take attendance. So how do we bridge that gap? So some teachers came up with and stuff for seniors to help us so that we have to take attendance, but to keep you from having to go to all these different meets that we're not going to be doing anything in, is an attendance assignment. Okay. So what you're going to do is, if you go to modules and you go to the final exam, which is right below module 11, okay, the final exam, there's your final exam. So you take that, okay, but then there's an attendance assignment, and this will basically count for that last week of school, okay? So for those other days that you're not taking your final, this is a way of record keeping and stuff. So you fill this out just like you would an attendance assignment, submit it, and it counts for the 12th through the 22nd, okay? So you still need to take your final, okay, because it doesn't count for a grade, but for attendance, then this will count for that last week, kind of like a scholar attendance, sort of. Okay, so when you take your exam, fill this out, and then you'll be good. And that will count for attendance for all those other days. Any questions on final exam or attendance? And I'll keep repeating this and going over this again the next couple of days. Okay. But this way you can fill out attendance. And then after that, once you take your final, if you have questions, you're welcome to come to live sessions, stuff like that. But you're not going to be penalized if you don't come. And stuff, because we're done with class basically, right? And you are moving on. Okay. All right. One other announcement I want to bring your attention to is, obviously this Friday is the last day for all work. So anything that is still open, it's the last day, absolute last day that anything can be submitted. So here are all the things that are open. Okay. Obviously you're welcome to reach out to myself or Miss C, for help on this, but here's a quick reference. If you're like, I need to get my grade up, what's still open, what can I do? Here's what is available. There's 11 summative opportunities, okay? So the second half of the financial literacies are still open, all right? Those are open. The money moves, those are open, okay? Those 3. So it tells you EverFi, what program, and then the name of those assignments. And then there are 4 parts to this project we've been working on, the task 1 through 14 that we worked on the last 2 weeks, task 6, we went over that last Thursday, and then we're gonna go over task 7 and 15 today. These are the last 2 things that are due for the quarter. Okay, so 11 opportunities, all summative, all right, which will definitely bring up your grade. Now, if you turn them in low score, it's not going to have a lot of impact on your grade. Okay, so if you're sitting at a low grade and you're like, I really need to get this up, then these things need to be submitted at a high score. So remember, the EverFis you can redo. Submitting a 70% is not going to bump your grade that much. Submitting a 90 or 100% is going to have a bigger impact on your grade. Any questions on the assignments that are open? This is also listed on the live session page, and I will send this in an email on Tuesday. Okay, I'm also sending the last grade notices on Tuesday, so tomorrow. So if you have below a 70, if you have an F or if you have a D, I will be sending grade notices. Okay, one more time. Any questions? Okay. All right, so we are going to jump in and we are going to talk about the last 2 tasks on our sheet today. We're going to be doing 7 and 15. All right, 7 and 15. So basically taking these financial literacy expectations and budgeting and banking and kind of bringing them and trying to apply them in a real life scenario of what would this look like. Okay, so you need to have Canvas open because you're going to have to open your own worksheet. So make sure you have Canvas open. If not, please go do that right now. And we're going to go to module 11. And there's where you can find all those EverFis. So 4 through 7 that's open, and the money moves. These are all the ones that are open, okay? And then these that are open. So we're going to go to the Can I Survive on My Own tab. Now we've done a lot of these, right? But we had some skipping around. So last Thursday, we went over the rental questionnaire form. And remember, that was where you picked 3 properties. We did 1 property together, and then you were supposed to pick 2 more properties, okay? Potential rental properties and break down information on them. Task 7 is where you're going to use information from task 6 and you're going to fill out an example rental application, okay? So you're going to want to click on apartment application. So click on it, open it up, and this is what it looks like. So let me know when you are there. So you went to task 7 and you've opened up your rental application. Give me a thumbs up. All right, so we're in there. We've got this open. All right, so I'm going to go over it. This is something you're going to do independently because the information will depend on the property you choose and your personal information and your living situation and things like that. So that's why we can't really do it together, except that I'll go over it, and then this is something that you can independently do, okay? And then especially if you do it in class, then you can ask questions if you get stuck on something. Some of this, you'll have the information. Some of this, you might have to just make it up. Okay, so we'll kind of go over that a little bit. All right, so I understand that not all of this will be accessible to you. So non-refundable fee. So when you look up your property, so what you'll want to do is you'll want to have your task 6 sheet open and then pick one of those 3 properties. You're welcome to use the property that I did with you if you want, or you can use one of the other 2. It says, so non-refundable fee. Sometimes they list it, sometimes they don't. So if you can't find it on the listing, then I would put at least $25 because that's usually like a minimum. Usually there's a fee. Okay, I'd be surprised if there wasn't some kind of fee. So type of property. So this is where you got to look at your list and you pick one property. So like, okay, I've done my research. I found 3 properties I like. Which one are you actually going to apply for? Okay, so is it an apartment, a home, a condo? What's the square footage? Again, if you need to pull up the listing again, if you did a link to it, that's helpful. If not, you could just go to, let's say, Zillow and type in the property address and it should pull up the listing again. All right. So if you didn't link it on your task 6, then you could just put in the address and then like in Zillow or Trulia or, rent.com, and it should pull up the property again. So you can find some of this information. So what's the square footage? How many bedrooms? If you can't find square footage, then I would say give or take 1,000 feet. That's common, 900 to 1,000 feet, probably for a 2-bed, 2-bath apartment. Rent, you can put your portion of it. Okay, so if it was 1,500, you were paying your half, that'd be 750. Give the address of the property. Do they allow pets? Yes or no? Smoking? Yes or no? Sometimes this isn't listed. 99% of the time, the answer is no. So if you can't find it on the listing, just put no. Parking, is it covered? Is it a garage? Is it street parking? Like what's the parking situation? Okay. Tenancy length, probably a year. So let's just say you're going to sign a year lease. Start date, let's say June 1st. So again, some of this you'll kind of just make up as you go. Okay, applicant details. So you put your name, date of birth. I don't need your social security number. Driver's license, you can just use your school ID number. Okay. Phone, email, other occupants. So that would be like a roommate. So you put yes, and then, list roommate. Do you plan on having a pet? Do you have a vehicle? So if you're like, no, I don't have pets, just mark no. If you have a vehicle, yes or no, and then describe it like make and model. Okay. Have you been convicted of a crime? Yes or no. Filed bankruptcy, evicted. So eviction means you are forced to leave a property. Okay. So you didn't just vacate it on your own accord. You were forced to leave. Employment. So this is where some of you might have a job, some of you might not. So if you have a job, go ahead and fill in that information, okay, to the best of your ability, all right? Supervisor, you can just give me first name. I don't have to have a last name, stuff like that, okay? So give an idea. If you don't have a job yet, or aren't working right now, then you can make one up. So let's say target $15 an hour. You know what I mean? Like just kind of the scenario that we've been using along the way, okay? So, that's fine. Or if you have somewhere else you want to pretend you work, okay? That's totally fine. Don't worry about previous employment. You don't have to do both of those. Just fill out current. That's fine. Current residence. So this would be where you live now. So if you're living at home or with a guardian, or if you've already moved out, okay, give us that information. Current landlord, that would be parent or guardian information and stuff. Previous, don't worry about that. Previous landlord, don't worry about that. Personal references. So personal references, it needs to be somebody outside your family, okay? No offense, family's bias, right? So maybe you're not the most responsible person. Your parents can be like, they're wonderful. Like we're naturally a little biased. Okay. And so personal references, you want these to be people. So maybe a job supervisor would be a great reference. A teacher, you could list myself from a C. Okay. That would be fine. A counselor, a mentor, someone who is kind of neutral in your life, non-biased. Does that make sense? Someone that has contact with you, but isn't like super, super close to you, like a best friend. A best friend is going to be biased, right? So it needs to be someone that can attribute to work ethic, character, kind of just generally who you are. Okay. Financial information. So again, if you have a bank account, I don't need your bank account routing numbers. So just tell me where you bank. You can put in fake numbers. If you don't have a bank account, then you can make them up. Okay. Same thing with credit cards. I don't need credit card numbers. You can make it up. Okay. Think off of, I think it was task 12, which credit card seemed the most interesting to you. So if you were going to apply for one, you don't need to give me 3 credit cards. You could just pick one. That's fine. Okay. So you could and same with bank, you can just pick one kind of account if you want. Okay. And then you sign a date. So like I said, some of this you'll know, some of this you'll kind of make up as you go, but it's just kind of getting you the feel of what a rental application feels like or looks like, and that they're multiple pages. They're not as quick as a lot of people think. Any questions on task 7? Any questions you can think of? Anything you want me to go over again? You can always ask as you're working on it. That's totally fine too. So you need to have task 6 done first. If you're not done with task 6 and you'll want to work on that, then start task 7 because you're pulling information from task 6. So you're picking one of the 3 from task 6 and you're doing task 7. Okay, so no questions? All right, then let's take a look at, so once you're done with that, then let's take a look at task 15 really quick, okay? And you probably won't have time to do both in class today, but at least just go over it so that as you work on it between now and Friday and get these in, then you have an idea of what you need to do, okay? And also I'm recording this so you could go back and watch it if you have specific questions or something, if you need it gone over again. Okay, so you're gonna go to task 15, and this is using the budget template. You're gonna write down information and collect miscellaneous information that you've done over the course of tasks 1 through 14. So this is kind of the culmination, all right? So when you click on your budget, okay, it's gonna open, it's gonna look like this, okay? And it's the idea that, let's say you made $2,200 a month, all right? How much is your rent? Well, look at your rental application. How much is half the rent of the place that you're pretend gonna release, okay? How much is your cell phone? If you're not sure, ask your parents. How much is your portion of the cell phone, okay? Utilities. So on the task 15 sheet, they have this utilities tab right here. And this kind of gives you an idea of average utilities. So average utilities, depending on how large your how much you kind of pay. The larger the place, the more utilities. And you could probably split it in half. Okay. So for a super, super small apartment, you're probably looking at less than $100 a month. If your apartment's around 1,000 square feet, you're probably looking at 150 or so a month. So you can take the average utility based on the size of the apartment, and you can split it in half, because you would split it with a roommate, right? So if the electric bill is 150, your portion would be 75. And you could put that here in the budget. Okay. So you'll add up like gas, electricity, water, sewer. You put that here. How much is your cable? So remember cable internet. So maybe cable is just your streaming services. Remember we did that. I think it was task 9. You had to pick 3 services. Are you going to have a car or not? Car insurance, renters insurance. So renters insurance is usually $15, $20 a month. Are you going to try to put money in savings every month? Okay. Groceries. So take a look at that budget list that you did, right? And I think it was supposed to be for a week or 2. So if you did it for 2 weeks, then times that total by 2. If you did it for 1 week, times that by 4. What would you spend monthly? Lunches, eating out, gas. Are you commuting really far? So maybe you got to fill up every week, or are you not commuting as much? So maybe fill up every couple weeks. Shopping, miscellaneous. So it's going to take the 2 expenses, and then it's going to subtract as you go from your total of $2,200 a month. Your goal is 0 or more left over a month. If you are negative, then you got to go in and you got to find somewhere to cut. And it's got to be realistic. All right. So you can't cut rent. You can't cut utilities. You're probably going to have to pull from variable. Maybe you can't afford a car. Maybe you're going to have to take the bus. Maybe you can't afford to eat out. Like what are the realities? Because if it's negative, you're not balancing your budget. You can't afford to live. So the goal is to create it at, obviously, it'd be nice to have a little bit left over every month, but 0 or higher. Okay, for task 15. And you're pulling that information. Maybe you're going to have to go back in and say, I can't afford cable. I can't afford the nicer cell phone. I'm going to have to get a cheaper cell phone plan. So where can I cut? You can't just not have a cell phone. You can't just not have, we have to be realistic here. Okay.
That's true.
I'm only going to eat ramen. No, you're not. So it needs to be realistic. So sometimes where can I cut? TV, internet, that's a place you can cut. Cell phone plans, that's a place you can cut. The way we shop or eating out, that's a place we can cut. So some of those ideas. Type of car. So maybe I can't afford a $400 car payment. I need a $150 car. So you just got it. You got to get a cheaper car, you make adjustments, Okay. So that is task 15. And obviously everything needs to be done then before you do that, because that's kind of culminating and pulling from the first task sheet and then the rental application and all that kind of stuff. Okay. Any questions? Any questions at all? Each of these are worth 30 points. Okay. So task 7 and task 15 are each worth 30 points in the summative category. And you submit those just below on the following page. Okay. All right. We're going to give you time to work then. Go ahead and put in the chat, what task are you be working on? If you're a little behind, that's totally fine. So are you working on the task 1 through 14? Are you working on task 6? Are you working on task 7? Remember, you can't work on task 7 until you're done with task 6. So which one are you working on? Okay. Let me know in the chat. And there's no right or wrong. Again, I just want you got to do these in order, sequential order. So let me know what you're going to be working on. So let me know which task are you going to be working on, the task 1 through 14, task 6, task 7. And remember, task 6 has to be done before you can work on task 7. All right, awesome. Let's go. I hear from a few more people. I've only heard from about half of you. Which task are you going to be working on from the project? So let me know which task you're going to be working on. Okay. Use your time wisely. Use this class time, okay? Because again, Tuesday, tomorrow, goal is to get in as much of this as you can, and then everything has to be in by Friday. That's the deadline for the school. Okay, if you have questions on task 7 or 15, let me know since we just went over them, or anything from the other tasks, I can help you out. Mhm. Anyone have any questions? Stuck on something? Can't find something? Remember, we're working on the Can I Survive project, task 7, hopefully, or if you are not at that point, that's fine. Then finishing the task 1 through 14 or working on task 6, because task 6 has to be done in order to do task 7. So let me know if you have any questions. About 15 minutes left. So again, hope you're being productive. Let me know if you're stuck on something. We're working on these tasks. And then again, just for reference tomorrow, remember that I have that announcement with everything that is open. There's 11 summative assignments or possibilities that are open to you. All right. And stuff. So if and when you complete this and you want to do other things to bring up your grade, then there's that post with all of the EverFi and summative opportunities that are open to you. All right. I hope you were able to get make some progress on your task sheet. So if you were doing the 1 through 14 or task 6, looking up the properties, or working on task 7, right? The example apartment application. So remember, on the apartment application, there will be some things you might not know. So try to follow those prompts or do your best guess. You can kind of use your home information or things like that. So I understand you won't have all the information, or if you don't have a bank account, make one up, just, I'm not saying you have to go get those things, but just to kind of get you familiar with, this is what it would be like. And they need a lot of information, before you have a rental. Okay. Tomorrow I have small group in the afternoon, so 1:20 to 2:10. So you can come anytime. I'm happy to help you. And stuff. So you have questions or things like that. Remember, I listed the announcement in Canvas. It has those 11 open summative assignments. So lots of opportunities to raise grades if you need them. I am sending one more final grade reminder tomorrow. So if you are under a 70%, I am sending those out. So get in the assignments. Okay. And remember, this Friday, everything is due. And then final exams start Friday, Monday, and Tuesday of next week. This Friday and then Monday, Tuesday of next week. Okay. Thank you. Wednesday, Thursday, we will review. Okay. So we'll review for your final in class. All right. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much, everybody. Bye. Thank you.